Yeah.
But let's get on to talking about November, if you're good with that. I
Hmm.
am sort of curious because I know there's 10 light bodies, right? So here we've crossed over the line of 10. So like where does 11 come in and what does that mean and how do we work with that energy?
Yeah. Well, following the the yogic numerology, you just combine 1 through 10 to manifest an aggregate as 11.
Okay.
And so
Oh,
um, each of 1 through 10 is a facet of the human as in an experiential blueprint. And so each one, like from 1, humility and soul, Nanak, that, we were looking to express that within the realm of the arc line. And so it's the same thing with 2, identity, and 3, opportunity, 4, the ability to bless and be non-dualistic, 5, make it presentable, and just notice the reflection of beliefs and thoughts and activities into the world of karma and dharma, and then adjust karma and dharma, from the inside out. And then, of course, the arc line, doubling down, auric field, and all of that, so it's all facets of what we're capable of doing. And now it's time to bring it all together. So my apologies to the people that didn't start tuning in January, because there's only 4 weeks in the month. And, if you're going to look at the aggregate, you're just going to have to assume that all the parts are going to aid one another in manifesting divine. So, I'm just looking in terms of practice and meditation, pranayama, and the combining of asana, to look at the biggest blocks to manifesting as life moving through us as us. So basically, yeah, infinity moving through me as me. How can I facilitate that? And within my practice, are there facets of me, even just looking at it in terms of Mula Mantra, what causes the fear, what causes the anger and the revenge, what blocks me from knowing that I'm complete where I am, what aspect of me thinks I need to be born and die, what aspect of me can't recognize my infinite capacity, my capacity to just be. And so all those things, they're all programmed into us by various institutions and various experiences, and like we were talking earlier, the corrupt way we have of perceiving things, the corrupt way we have of even conceiving of life as divine source. So I think it's going to be interesting, and it'll carry over maybe mixed together. I'm looking at December as 3 of, again, the creative flow of the universe. So, we'll go through steps 1 through 11 or 1 through 10, come to 11 and say, okay, clean up whatever you can of the amalgamation of the aggregate bodies. And then December, recognize opportunity that's coming in from the cosmos, but also start providing opportunities within the life, within the structure, within the activities to go, okay, I'm we're all creative beings. That's why we're here, and we're creative with only I don't know, I want to say with complete license to create whatever we want. And that's true, but we're also looking at the consequences of what we decide to create in any given moment. And universal law takes care of that. So if you're just paying attention to what you're creating, then that's why we go to Shuniya. That's why we follow the heart to say, okay, it's okay to create that. It's okay to offer that opportunity. And so, yeah, 4 weeks not enough to focus on that, but we'll just do what we can. And that's where I see that. I see this as an exciting investigation. And of course, it's like we were talking earlier, as we claim the powers or the responsibilities or whatever it is, we have to pay for carrying it, right? And that's what's coming in now, just letting go of just going through the process of clearing. We're looking this past week, we're looking, well, what are we carrying in terms of beliefs and feelings and the collection of our traumas and victories and challenges. And the more we carry along, the more weight we have to shoulder. And the idea is, hey, see it, let it go, and create, and know that it's divine life that is actually creating. And we're just here going for a ride. Hopefully I'll remember this tomorrow.
I don't think I doubt you have to remember that much.
No, it's kind of like pretty much, if you get punched in the face or in the gut, that you're holding on to something a little too tight.
Yeah, that, as much as I know, at an intellectual level and even at a spiritual level, and I advise my clients on this all the time, it's like, you have to, there's a great saying, you can't grasp anything if your hand's already full. You can't accept anything if you're holding on to something already. And the other one I love is God has to fill a vacuum. So at the moment that you release something, something else will come. And usually, and this is very personal, so I don't really know why I'm feeling called to share it, but I've had weight issues my entire life. And I've been driving in the car, and I've been doing these mantras like my body heals itself, my body is healthy and fit and happy and has everything it needs and tells me when it needs something, and just trying to tune into this, like, letting go of this emotional eating thing and all those sort of things related to that. And one of the things was, I am currently creating the body that reflects how I feel now and how I will feel, and I'm releasing the body that reflects how I have felt. And that was a huge, like, I was driving in the car and I was like, oh, like, just like, oh, like, it makes so much sense, and I think as when we're talking about the light bodies and how the energy processes through all of that, it's similar. Like, we don't necessarily dictate the timeline of how these things are going to run their course. We're going to process things at different speeds at different parts of the light body. And, we might have to process something on all 10 levels of the light body. And so it just takes longer because we're having to go through all these different tropes at these different levels.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mhm.
I like what you said, and I like um I don't are did you ever study Carl Jung at all or read any of Carl Jung's work? He talks a lot about synchronicities and numerology. He was very interested in the I Ching and how like numbers and patterns would reflect, and he's sort of the reason why like we have the angel numbers, so people get all like, oh, 1111, 1111 is like the big one. And so
Mhm.
for Carl Jung, the number 11 was reflective of, right, two together, and the two together is a mirror, and it's also a gateway. And so anytime you see an 11, what you're actually seeing is the duality balanced and the gateway to
Mm.
whatever. It used to be that
Mhm.
people, when people first started living in like hillside homes and stuff and building their domiciles into the, they would have these rock walls, and the rocks, one they would put one on either side to signify the entrance, and that's where the original 11, the reflection of the 11 comes from,
Ah.
and
Uh-huh.
that's why it's the gateway and the,
Okay. Yeah.
just some religious and philosophical history for people that are interested in that, which is in his book. I think it's in the book Synchronicities. He talks about that.
Oh, cool.
But
Yeah. No, I haven't studied or read anything by him, but I'm not surprised.
well, it's interesting because of what you said about 11 is like this. It's like this consolidation of, and even people who aren't familiar with yogic numerology who are interested in numerology, because there's also Western numerology. And in
Mhm.
Western numerology, you're always reducing to the minimum. So 11 is actually a 2, but
Okay.
11 is also an 11 because it has a specific quality that can only be represented by 11. And it has to do with this, yes, it's dual, but it's dual in the sense of separate reflective, not dual in the sense of two, right?
Right. 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 Oh, that's pretty interesting.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how this year closes out. Um, I I'd like to say that this year has been different. It's definitely been different for the last 2 years since 2020, you know. Um, but I mean, there's just still so much for people to unpack. And, I think as far as healing goes, and when you're on the path of healing, this is the time and this is the place that we're unpacking all of this stuff, actively unpacking it as it's happening. And I don't know, I'm sure, in human history, this has happened before, but nothing like this has ever happened in any of our lifetimes, and it's, if you're tuned into the work and the energetics aspect of it, I think it's got that blessing and curse quality to it, because like you were saying earlier, it's like you see past the illusions of things, but it also hurts more. It requires more healing to see the truth and to see, how we're being manipulated, and how easy it is to get sucked into some part of that, through your own, you know, um, vulnerability.
Yeah. 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 And so within considering all of that, the whole process of unpacking and processing, it becomes clearer and clearer, um, a message to me to just learn the language between divine consciousness and human consciousness, and let the divine take care of all this stuff, and my job will just be to learn enough of the language of divine life and divine wisdom that I can hear the adjustments that I need to make for all of that to make sense, for it to actually resolve, because it has to come to zero. Otherwise, it's not gone. And whenever I think about that, I have to do it. And whenever I hear other people say, I got to deal with this, I got to deal with that, it's like, yeah, you weren't designed to deal with it. You weren't even designed to hold it in the first place. Right. So just find your connection. And that's why there's yoga in the Garden of Shuniya.
Yes. 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 I started saying recently, and I can't remember now where I read it, but it was the same thing you're just saying right now. We take on so much. We take on so much responsibility for things that are not truly in our control. And we talked about this in a different episode where we were, I think that was last month, where we were talking about taking on responsibility for others and like sending out specific prayers for specific means to a specific end. And in the radiance, you have to recognize that, like, yes, you have a strong projective energy to project divine positive light into a situation, but the outcome and the means have nothing to do with you, and are probably equally obfuscated to the person that's going through them, because that's part of what they have to go through, right? And
Yeah.
so I've
Yeah.
started saying, like having this live conversation with my higher self, whoever that is. I don't know if that's Kate in the future, if that's God, I don't know who that is. That's my higher being or whatever. And I'm like, how is your problem? You need to figure out the how. You need to solve this one, because I'm driving and I have all of this. I've got this other things that I'm actually responsible. I got to keep these kids safe. I got to feed them. I know that this is the general direction. So, like, it's on you at this point. Like, I'm not even going to think about it anymore. And
Yeah.
I think, as a recovering intellectual, I think that there's a part of me that sort of resists that and is like, oh, like that's that's weakness, or it's cowardice, or it's whatever. And there that I have that, like, internal skeptic in me, or that not atheistic, but sort of self-determinate, willful human part of me that's like, no, like, you need to figure it out, and you need to be strong, and you need to whatever. And it's like, I got like 80, maybe 90 years here, and I got like a whole bunch of messes going on. So I mean, I need all the help I can get, and I also need to sleep.
Yeah.
Like, I think I
Yeah.
came to Earth to eat and sleep. I don't think I came to Earth to solve these big problems.
Yeah.
I'm gonna matrix the situation and go eat a steak or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, November should be good. We're already 6 days into the month. We're recording this on Sunday, so it'll probably come out on Tuesday, which will be just in time for Tuesday's evening class. To remind people that we have that small Zoom community that's been ongoing since the beginning of the pandemic. That's just the sweetest group of people who sit with each other on Tuesday nights and explore these things. And you also have ongoing classes through the week on Mondays and Tuesday mornings in Bastrop, Mondays in Austin at Flow. Flow's at 10 and Shuniya's at noon. Is that right? Or the other way around?
Yeah.
Shuniya Yoga Collective at 10 and then Flow at noon on Mondays. In Austin, live and in person, and then in Bastrop on Tuesday mornings, on Zoom on Tuesday evening. And if you're listening to this and you've never had a class of Siri Bahadur, definitely watch back through the episodes because you can catch up, and come to class because, as they say in the Aquarian age, experience is everything. Intellectual knowledge only takes you so far, and really experiencing what is Shuniya, why is it important, and what can it bring you in your life, especially in the collective and personal chaos that we all seem to be finding ourselves in lately. It's very important to find that cornerstone of that safety and peace in the uncertainty, because Shunya is not about um, running away or hiding or retreating to the mountaintop or anything like that. Shunya is literally learning how to sit in the middle of that chaos and just be yourself while all of that's going on, and to kind of start slowly carving out a peaceful existence for yourself from the inside out without needing to affect change directly. And I think that's one of the most beautiful pieces of this practice. So,
Exactly. Thank you.
well, Siri Bahadur, thank you so much. It's always a
Thank you,
pleasure.
Kate. Yes, it is my pleasure as well. And I appreciate all you do and the insight that you bring to our common endeavors. And we just keep moving forward, keep moving on. So
Yes.
thank you.
Well, it's been a wonderful year discussing all of these topics with you and learning more about yoga numerology and putting this information out there for people, because I think it's something that people don't really know a lot about, and it's a great technology for people who really want to have a more whole and elevated experience in the middle of the mire of the earth experience.
Yeah. Yeah, wherever we find ourselves. Yeah.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Blessings.
Blessings.